standing strong and tall. Yeah, this is the bovine coming on the air, sharing the stories of the folks who care. Profiles of passion, voices of the trade, dairy strong legends being made. Yeah, this is the bovine coming on the air, sharing the stories of the folks who care. Profiles of passion, voices of the trade, dairy strong legends being made.
Hey there, dairy industry friends. Welcome back to the Bovine Podcast. I'm your host, and today I've got a story that's going to challenge everything you think you know about agricultural advocacy. So picture this. You're scrolling through social media, probably seeing the same old posts about somatic cell counts and feed conversion ratios, right? And then you stumble across this account where there's a mom in barn boots chasing twin toddlers through a milking parlor while her husband rolls his eyes in the background. You think, wait, this is dairy farming content? That's exactly what happened to me when I discovered Annaliese Wegner, better known as the modern-day farm chick. And folks, what I found completely flipped my understanding of how we should be talking to consumers about our industry. Here's the thing that blew my mind. While most of us in the dairy world are still posting charts about butterfat percentages and trying to educate consumers with technical data, Annaliese built a community of over 100,000 followers by doing the exact opposite. And get this, she's not just building followers, she's building multiple revenue streams that are putting real money back into her family's farm operation. Let me tell you Annaliese's story, because it started in the most unexpected way. Picture a young dairy farmer, fresh out of UW River Falls with a dairy science degree, working alongside her husband Tom at Wegner Land Dairy in Wisconsin. They're milking about 650 Holstein cows. Solid operation, impressive 93-pound herd average with 4.4% butterfat. Everything's going great until life throws her a curveball. Twins. Now, I don't know about you, but I've seen plenty of farm families navigate the chaos of newborns. But Annaliese describes this transition in a way that hit me right in the gut. She told me, "My transition from full-time farmer to part-time farmer and full-time butt wiper was tough. I remember feeling so happy to be a mother, but also a little lost. I had always been a farmer. What was I now?" This is where her story gets interesting. Instead of retreating from agriculture, she turned to social media as a lifeline. But here's the kicker. She wasn't trying to become an influencer. She just started sharing blog posts with her grandparents and posting on Facebook about the basic stuff happening on their farm. Then came the moment that changed everything. She posted about treating a cow with mastitis, explaining how they use antibiotics and all the steps they take to ensure antibiotics don't end up in the food supply. That post went viral. It grew my following significantly, she told me, and made me realize that people really care and want to learn more about their dairy products. But here's what's brilliant about Annaliese's approach. She didn't double down on the technical education. Instead, she had this light bulb moment. Consumers weren't hungry for more agricultural lectures. They were hungry for authenticity. Now, this is where it gets really interesting for all of us listening who are trying to figure out how to connect with consumers. Annaliese discovered something that completely contradicts conventional ag advocacy wisdom. She told me, "Someone once told me that the best way to promote ag is by not talking about it. Seems wild, but I've come to see the truth in it. People connect with people, not with their job." Think about that for a second. While we're out here defending our practices with data and studies, she's building relationships by sharing her morning fitness routine, her twins helping with calf chores, and Tom's perpetual eye rolls at being filmed. Her content strategy is genius in its simplicity. If you look at her feed, you'll find a 4-to-1 ratio of lifestyle content to education content. She's sharing recipes featuring dairy products, workout routines, parenting struggles, and farm life humor. And here's the magic. When she does share agricultural content, her audience is already invested in her as a person. She calls it sliding in the vegetables, like sneaking nutrition into mac and cheese. Years ago, I started selling skincare online and had the opportunity to meet women outside of my ag circle, she explained. We bonded over skincare, motherhood, being goal-oriented, so many things, and now I am their go-to person when they have a question about dairy. It's pretty cool. Here's where this story becomes a masterclass in agricultural entrepreneurship. What started as therapeutic blogging has evolved into a legitimate second income for the Wegner family. We're talking multiple revenue streams, sponsored content with agricultural brands like Armor Animal Health, her Farm Plus Grow Co., community offering workshops and masterminds, speaking engagements at agricultural conferences, merchandise featuring phrases like, "I enjoy long, wet, romantic walks down the cheese aisle." When I asked her about monetizing her platform, her response was telling. "Isn't that crazy? When I started sharing on social media over 12 years ago, I never thought I would be able to monetize it." But here's what impressed me most. She hasn't let commercialization corrupt her voice. "I still create the same fun, real, and raw content because that's what my community loves," she insisted. She's even brought on a bookkeeper and podcast manager to handle the business side while staying true to her authentic approach. Now, one of my favorite aspects of Annaliese's brand is how she's navigated the challenge of including her family in her public platform while respecting boundaries. Her husband, Tom, has become somewhat of a folk hero among her followers as the unwitting participant who's always getting dragged into content creation. But here's what's interesting. That reluctant husband persona? It's mostly character at this point. He is actually the best supporter and even shares content ideas from time to time, she revealed. "Don't get me wrong, he still hates a camera in his face, but he kinda knows that my followers love him and his antics." This evolution reflects something crucial for any farm family considering this path. Your family's understanding and buy-in will grow as they see the positive impact you're making. But it starts with clear boundaries and respect for comfort levels. Perhaps the most impressive part of Annaliese's journey is how she's used her platform to lift up other voices in agriculture. Through her podcast, Ag's Most Okayest Farm Girls with Courtney Feigl, and her Farm Plus Grow Co. initiative, she's specifically focused on empowering women in agriculture to share their stories. Listen to this tagline from her podcast. For women who are craving connection, laughter, solidarity, camaraderie, and just overall encouragement in your everyday life and dreams. The underlying message is powerful. Our whole message is, we are not perfect. We are not the best at what we do. Nobody is. It's okay to just be okay. You're doing great. In a world of Instagram perfection, this permission to be okayest is revolutionary, and it's working. Through Farms Grow Co., she offers workshops like Finding Your Authentic Ag Voice and masterminds focused on social media strategy for farm entrepreneurs. When I asked what holds people back from sharing their stories, her answer was immediate: confidence. I have found that so many women don't think they have a story to tell. They tell themselves things like, "I'm not on the farm enough to share," or "I'm just a farm mom," or "I won't make a difference." I've even heard, "I'm not pretty enough." It's absolute bullshit. Your story matters and you can make a difference, but you have to get started. Now, let's talk about something every agricultural advocate faces: controversial topics. From animal welfare to GMOs, we all know the scrutiny modern farming faces. Annaliese's approach here is particularly enlightening. "Just keep it simple and share the truth," she advises. "I try to put myself in their shoes and understand where they are coming from. I have learned that if I get defensive, it will only escalate the situation. Positivity and being honest goes a long way." She shared a perfect example from her husband's class reunion. A classmate was ranting about factory farms and how big farms are bad. When he learned that Wegner Dairy milks 600 cows, his response was telling, "Well, I know you guys though. I know you aren't like that." Just because you don't know the farmer doesn't mean they are bad or operate like a factory, she told him. This conversation crystallized her approach. Consumers need to get to know their farmers. Instead of myth-busting through confrontation, she promotes what she loves rather than bashing what she hates. There are so many myths and negative stories we as farmers would like to bust, but I have found that there is no need to bring more attention to these things. Using a positive approach to shed light works better and makes you more approachable for future questions. So what can we learn from Annaliese's approach? She offers some refreshingly practical advice for dairy farmers wanting to improve their consumer communication. First, do it. Share because your story matters and can make a difference. The way I talk about agriculture may not resonate with someone, but the way you talk about it could. Second, you don't have to have thousands of followers or post daily to make an impact. Create quality and authentic content, but most importantly, let people get to know you. And third, be real. I often hear that people are fearful to share because they don't know it all. Shit, neither do I, but I do have a perspective and knowledge to share. Her advice for finding your platform is equally straightforward. Just have fun and be yourself. You don't have to utilize every social media platform. Find what works for you and what you enjoy. Most importantly, understand your worth. You do have a story to share and people need to hear it. After diving deep into Annaliese's approach, I think her success comes down to 5 key ingredients. She leads with vulnerability, not expertise. By acknowledging what she doesn't know and sharing her struggles alongside her successes, she creates space for genuine conversation rather than one-way information delivery. She prioritizes connection over conversion. Rather than trying to immediately convince consumers about farming practices, she builds relationships first, making her a trusted source when agricultural questions do arise. She makes agriculture approachable. By integrating farming into broader lifestyle content, she meets people where they are, rather than demanding they enter her world first. She embodies authenticity. In every post, podcast episode, and workshop, Annaliese shows up as herself, unpolished, imperfect, and utterly genuine. In a world of carefully curated content, this realness is magnetic. And finally, she remembers the human element. Behind every consumer question or concern is a person trying to make good choices for their family. By honoring this human element, she creates conversations rather than confrontations. Here's what really gets me about Annaliese's story. She's proving that our industry's obsession with technical education might actually be backfiring. Consumers don't trust lectures about butterfat percentages. They trust farmers they know personally. While operating a progressive 650-cow Holstein operation with impressive production metrics, she built 100,000-plus social media followers not by explaining DairyComp 305 data, but by sharing authentic motherhood and farm life moments. Her connection-before-curriculum approach has generated multiple revenue streams and created a community of consumers who trust agriculture because they trust her. This challenges every dairy farmer, still posting somatic cell count charts instead of building genuine relationships with the people buying their products. Progressive operations worldwide are discovering that vulnerability and storytelling create stronger consumer loyalty than technical specifications ever could. As I wrap up this story, I keep coming back to something Annaliese said. Your story can be the bridge between some mom's grocery cart and agriculture's future. In her hands, that bridge isn't built with statistics or lectures. It's built with authenticity, humor, and the everyday moments that make us all human. Through twin tantrum stories, Tom's good-natured eye rolls, calf care tips, and unfiltered glimpses of dairy life, she doesn't just educate, she welcomes people in. She makes "Who Grew My Cheese" feel as personal as "How's your day?" And in doing so, she's transformed the modern-day farm chick from a blog for grandparents into a powerful platform for connection that's changing how people think about dairy farming one post at a time. So here's my challenge to every dairy farmer listening. Stop defending your practices and start sharing your story. Your operation's profitability and our industry's future may depend on it. Because at the end of the day, in an era where consumers are increasingly disconnected from food production, people crave authentic connection with the humans behind their food. And that, my friends, is exactly why Annaliese Wegner is worth following, both literally and figuratively. Thanks for joining me today on the Bullvine Podcast. Until next time, keep thinking differently about how we connect with the people who matter most, the consumers choosing our products every single day.